me ask you this. I want to get back a moment and revisit the COVID-19, because that, you ran on very strongly on the border. That was a single issue for you. The pandemic hadn't happened. Biden ran strongly on COVID-19. Yet I'm learning from Chad Wolf, your former acting DHS secretary, and Democrats as well, that people are crossing the border, and sometimes we can test them and sometimes we can't. So as a former president, you know a lot of details that we don't have access right now to, because we haven't had our first solo news conference with Biden. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just from a president's perspective. Title 42, what would it do to stem the tide in terms of COVID-19 right now, and is it being applied in your estimation? You created that.
They're applying nothing. They're not doing Title 42 or any title. People are just pouring into our country, and they will destroy our country. They will destroy our country. You can't take millions of people. They'll have millions of people before this mess is over. And they've got some kind of a political theory, I guess, that it's a good thing. Maybe. I don't think it is. I think it's a very bad thing for our country. Again, we want people to come in, but they have to be able to help our country. They have to come in through merit, and they have to come in legally. Right now, you don't have anything protecting our country. You have people just flowing through, coming through. And they're the numbers are so vast. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They said 20 years. I'll bet you it's maybe forever. Maybe it's, from the beginning of this whole mess. But it's much more than 20 years. They said the worst in 20 years. No, they're going to destroy our country in other ways, too, if you look at what's going on. You're going to have pack the court.
Well, Montana.
You're going to have big tax increases. They're going to take your guns away. I mean, take a look at what they're doing with take a look at what's coming up, and I predicted it all. Now, I must say, I never thought that Biden, and it's not Biden, it's other people that are, putting stuff in front of him.
You don't think it's him?
But I never thought that Biden in a million years would be worse. Nobody did. Would be far worse than Bernie Sanders. This is Bernie Sanders on steroids. This is what he's doing with all, and you haven't seen anything yet. So the Second Amendment is going to be obliterated. And there's no stopping them. And our leadership, Mitch, isn't strong enough to stop people. Never was. That's like one of the big secrets. But he had the majority. But now that he's not in the majority, he's not doing his thing. He's not doing what he should be doing. There are ways to stop some of this stuff that's happening, but you're going to see packing the courts. You're going to see the biggest tax increase in history. You're going to see the Second Amendment just absolutely obliterated. You're going to see many other things. The Green New Deal will be put into effect. And people used to laugh at it when it was proposed 3 years ago by people that knew nothing about the environment, by the way. And they're going to raise taxes to a level, and they're going to spend a lot of the money foolishly on Green New Deal stuff that doesn't work.
I want to ask my team to put up a couple of numbers, and we're showing some information for our viewers, Mr. President, as you were talking and matching up a little bit. You were talking about the surge at the border. Let's go back to southwest border. Adults up 188%. And unaccompanied minors, I want to talk about the children, because that's the mark against our soul. And your administration took criticism because we were taking in unaccompanied minors, and they were getting separated from the adults at the border. And you see that, everybody on the screen, 92% increase of unaccompanied minors now in 2021 versus 2020. We're only 3 months in. So as we look at the screen, I want to match that now. Mr. President, when you look at these numbers, and you look at what wiped away on the first day of President Biden's administration, an executive order, what exactly were you doing that was working better than what we see now? And I understand that people were flowing over now, but there were some things that you did. You had agreements with Honduras, Ecuador, Guatemala, Mexico. I want the audience to understand some of what was wiped away more than just, well, it had my name on it, because those numbers that we're looking at now are a mark against us. Those children, their lives are forever different, if they make it.
Well, first of all, I mean, the only problem with giving you this answer is you don't have enough time, because, you need about 2 hours to explain what we've done. What we did is incredible. But, in a nutshell, I do want to start off by saying that they built the cages. They built cages for children. We didn't build them. They built them. And a famous picture appeared about the cages that were built. And then fortunately somebody remembered. And fortunately we have guys like Morgan and Tom, how good. I mean, we have such professionals, Tom Homan. We have such great professionals. I watch them on your show. They really know their business, and they're not involved in this. They have people that have no idea. But they built cages in 2014, but that was during the Obama administration, and they blamed them on us. We didn't build the cages. They did. Very sad, when they had a picture in the New York Times of children in cages, and it turned out that it was them, and the newspapers didn't want to do retractions, even though now everybody knows that's the fact. But as far as other countries are concerned, so we had Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and others. We were paying those three countries approximately $500 million a year. Who knows what they were doing with the money? You could imagine. They were supposed to use that money for economic development, keep people there. It all sounds good, but it wasn't being used for that. And people were flowing in, and they wouldn't take MS-13 gang members back. They wouldn't take anybody back for Obama. They wouldn't do it. They said, nope, don't ever land your plane here. Don't ever bring your buses here. Don't ever send a boat. Nothing. We won't take them back. Turn around. They were turning our people around. They were treating us like amateurs, which is what they were. And so I said, well, they was doing that at the beginning of mine, too. I said, so how much money do we pay these countries? $500 million. I said, stop payment. As soon as I stopped payment, all of a sudden they said, we would welcome our MS-13 gang members back into our country. We would welcome. Anyway, I got along very well with those three countries and really well with Mexico. The president of Mexico is a friend of mine. He's a great guy.
Excuse me, because I know I'm going to have to let you go soon, but I want to get this in there. Is that part of what's gone? I mean, is Biden maintaining these relationships? We can't do this without the countries south of the border. In fact, we had some video, and we can go back to Tijuana, Mexico. There are tent cities that have set up on the border waiting to get back into the United States.
Yeah.
Waiting
all
to
those
come
people
here
are going to come flooding in. Right. I kept them in Mexico. By keeping them in Mexico, Mexico becomes much tougher at their northern border because they don't want any more. So I said to Mexico, look, if you're going to do any of this stuff that's bad for us, I'm going to put tariffs on all of the cars that you make for the United States, because before my administration, they stole 32% of our automaking business. The unions don't realize that. The union members realize it, but the heads of the unions that all support Democrats, no matter who they are, they don't realize it. But they took 32% of our automobile business. I said, all those cars that you make are going to be tariffed. So Mexico was great. I must tell you, Mexico was great. The relationships I developed were great. Well, no,
I mean, we can tell that they're not doing that anymore.
They have a field day. They have people that are rank amateurs. They have people that talk about ideology, but it's not even good ideology. Why would it work? Why are we supposed to take care of the world, and in many cases, the world's criminals? And they're coming over not from the three countries plus Mexico. They're coming over now from Yemen. They're coming over from the Middle East. Who the hell knows what we're taking in? These people are destroying our country. I said it was going to happen during the campaign. That's why I got 75 million votes, probably much more than that. And it's a disgrace what's been allowed to happen to our country, and they're persecuting people. They're stopping them from talking. They're stopping free speech, and they're persecuting
let's get into that.
Great Americans.
Let's get into that. Now, let's get into the fact that as media, we cannot get into this border situation, that there is a lid on us with regard to those facilities. Did your administration ever consider some of the things that the Biden administration is doing, closing down a border? I still don't understand, by the way, Mr. President, how that would even really work if it's so porous the way it is. You can't close it without structure.
Well, that's why you needed the wall. But now I've built almost 500 miles of wall. So it's a much easier situation now. When I took it over, it was a disaster. But I built 500 miles of wall, and now, you have vast sections. I mean, you see some openings, but the openings get closed. That's what the purpose is. You have to close them. Those contracts have been given a long time ago. And again, that was to get people through. But these are small openings. But that has to get closed. But the wall has made it so much easier for these people. And frankly, I mean, I even hear they want to tear down the wall, if you can even believe it. Tear down the wall. This is not the way you heard it from Ronald Reagan.